where I was arrested at. Her name Carolyn Wright. And then two were police officers. One of them was the police officer that pulled me out of the car, and the other one was one that said she was in an ambulance with me, and she had me in her view for like 20, 25 minutes, and I had cornrows in my hair when they brought me to the hospital.
Correct. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Now, just to slow it down a little bit and to break it down. So, yes, I did read the website. I took the time and I read the website and I saw the pictures. And, yes, as you were saying, there was an officer who took the ambulance ride to you, to the hospital, and she was with you for roughly like 20 to 25 minutes and then supposedly admitted that you had braids. Also, the lady that was in the house, the Caroline Wright lady that you witnessed, also supposedly admitted that you had braids. And last but not least, the officers who, you know, shot at you confessed and said you had braids. Now, once you realized, once you got all this evidence or whatever, and you realized all this was a lie, like, why did they lie on you? Like, do you have any reason why they were lying on you the way they did? You were lied on ridiculously.
It's, like I said, as far as the police lying, it was the politics in the case, and they had to try to make it stick. So they had to make me match that description of the shooter, even though they know I didn't match it. And by making me match it, they also had the DA argue, like in his closing argument, that I cut my hair in the hospital, explaining like I went to the hospital with the braids, but then and these pictures showing me without braids after means I cut my hair in the hospital, even though I was shot 6 times. I'm in critical condition. I'm handcuffed to the bed, and I'm surrounded by police my whole time I'm there. But they still made it like I was able to get up, cut my hair, take my braids out, cut my hair, and get rid of the hair. And nobody see anything. Nobody, like, there's no evidence of this at all. But the DA argued that in his closing argument. As far as Carolyn Wright lying, I don't know why she lied, but it's obvious that she did, along with the police, and there's photographic evidence to prove that. But she also lied about other things as well, and she admitted to lying to things at my trial, which is not this braid issue. You know, and that's because that issue was too important to the DA's case. Yeah.
Now, you were just stating that you had evidence and all these photos of what you looked like before. And once again, if you go and peep the website, they are up there. I was able to witness the photos. Because supposedly you walked away, when was it, like April?
Right. So I had,
April 20.
I had photographs of me, because before I left the facility, I took photos with visitors, and it's 2 sets of photos. One is from April 10th, and the other one is from April 22nd. And, you know, the shooting happened on April 30th. The pictures show me with a low haircut 8 days before the shooting, and the April 10th one is 20 days before the shooting. So before trial, I asked my lawyers to get in touch with the witness from April 22nd, which is the closest ones to the shooting, so I could present the photos to the jury. But my lawyers refused to do it. And then, so I objected to that at my trial, at their refusal to call and present the photographs, because they basically denied my right to present my defense and very important evidence. So as I'm fighting to show the pictures, the DA arguing that, in order for me to show the pictures, I would have to agree to a stipulation that would basically tell the jury that my hair could have grown long enough to be braided in just 8 days from the length that it is in that photo. And the judge agreed with the DA, so they denied me my right to show this evidence. So I was never able to show this evidence to the jury.
That's crazy. How could they deny you the right to show pictures in court?
All right, so that is a big issue that I'm having with the courts now, because the Sixth Amendment right gives me the right to present evidence, my right to compulsory process, and bring evidence in my favor. But the courts is acting like it's up to my counsel, the attorneys, on which witnesses to call. So even though I want to call a witness, they're saying it's not up to me, even though I'm the one that's facing the time if I'm found guilty, and I'm the one that has to deal with the consequences of their actions. It's not up to me. So even though, I know, and that's what I'm fighting for right now. It's like it doesn't even make sense what they're doing with that.
Yeah,
that's how they have to get this conviction.
Definitely not considered a fair trial. That's ridiculous. So, okay. So moving forward, you get convicted. You get convicted of this crime. You get convicted of all these things you got convicted of. And after being convicted, you tried to get a new trial, correct?
Yes, I filed a motion to give me a motion for a new trial, which is called a Rule 30 in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And I felt like I did my appeal, I did all of that, and I'm explaining basically everything that we've been talking about here. And they basically denied my appeal and all the motions, and they do that to sweep it under the rug. So it's like if I don't have like a bunch of people paying attention to my case, and I don't have like all the eyes and all of that, they just deny it and sweep it under the rug, and it's really based on the politics. So I feel like they know that I am not the person that committed the crime. I think they know that. I think the evidence shows them that, and it at least creates doubt. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't let me present to the jury, so they know that they violated my rights to at least to a fair trial.
Exactly.
And they're just ignoring everything and just sweeping it under the rug.
That's crazy. So, it's like so crazy because politics really work that way. And your case is like a big case of politics. Can you elaborate a little bit on the experts who spoke on the stand at your trial?
Okay, that was at the motion, yeah.
At your motion?
I had a barber. I actually had a barber that cut my hair in the facility he used to cut my hair. Actually, I'm going to speak for him because he testified that he cut my hair every other week for my visits while I was in that facility. And those visits from April 10th and April 22nd were from the visiting room with my visitors. And those are the ones that's on the website. But he also testified that he cut my hair with a number one guard every other week. And a number one guard cuts your hair to a 16th of an inch. And he testified that it would take months for my hair to grow long enough to be cornrow, let alone 8 days as the judge and the DA tried to say. It would take months. And and the other expert that I have, she's an older lady from the board of licensure that gives the license to barbers. Like that's the head of the state when it comes to cosmetology, and she concurred that it would take months for my hair to grow as well.
Exactly.
And even to for me to even add extensions to it. So I have like their transcripts and stuff on the Free Kirkland website as well.
Yeah, I mean it's just common sense. Ain't no black person growing hair in 8 days, because I wish I would try to grow my hair in 8 days. I'd be Pocahontas by now. So okay, so another question. If you proved that you did not have hair, why did they deny your motion for a new trial?
They basically just want to ignore the evidence, and they kind of decided like I didn't prove that I didn't have braids at the time of the shooting, which doesn't really make any sense at all.
So they were like, "Fuck what?"
You have 1 minute left.
Evidence. I have a whole bunch explaining why that is what it is. Like I couldn't have had the hair. And the only witness that the kid barber had was a barber for 20 years. The only witness that the Commonwealth had, was a barber for 20 years who actually wore cornrows himself and adamant and unequivocal that the shooter wore cornrows. So by addressing the fact that I did not and could not have worn cornrows at the time, they would have to admit that 2 police officers who are members of the prosecution team testified falsely when they said I had cornrows to make me match the description of the shooter. So that's a big deal politically. But it's about to hang up, so I'm going to call right back.
Okay, we'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah, so that was basically the answer. They just don't want to admit that 2 police officers that's a big deal in itself. So aside from our rights to compulsory process being violated to present the evidence, and the other rights that they violated to prevent me from even arguing for this, to present this evidence, because during trial they violated other rights of mine as well, like my right to be present when I was trying to argue this. My lawyer was arguing against me at sidebar, but I wasn't even at sidebar to speak up for myself. And then they had the sidebar, and there wasn't even no jury in the courtroom. And the purpose of sidebar is so the jury don't hear things, so they're not able to consider things that's not really evidence. But in this case, that was okay. But now, if the jury's not here, what's the reason of a sidebar? So all they did that was to exclude the public from knowing what was going on with this evidence also, which is a violation of my right to a public trial. So they did like a lot of sneaky stuff to fight against me, even to the point that while they're at sidebar, they're arguing against me. So I had no attorney representing me either. So I wasn't there to represent myself, and I had no attorney representing me at the sidebar when I'm trying to present evidence to the jury.
Yeah, that's
so it's like I had the DA and my own lawyers all on the same side against me from presenting this evidence. Doesn't even make sense. Yeah, so all of my Sixth Amendment rights were violated, and they were being violated just because I'm trying to expose that they put 2 police officers and a civilian witness up here to lie about the crucial issue of the identification in my case, which is the biggest part of my case.
Exactly.
So
it's literally the biggest part of your
to
case.
deprive me my right to a fair trial and prevent me from showing exculpatory evidence.
Is there any other evidence?
It's a lot of other evidence, right? It's a lot of other evidence in the case. There's the DA even got evidence of someone else committing the crime. The legal term for that is third-party culprit. In my case, there happens to be another person who actually wrote a statement against me, and like it was like a bunch of they like made up a crazy story, and it's a whole bunch of stuff and it's like a lot of evidence saying like he probably did that because it looks like him. But I don't really get into that. But it's a lot of evidence that the DA has that says it. So I never said anything about anybody. I never spoke to them about my case, period. But there's a lot of evidence that they have that they kind of had to give my attorney, and it points to a lot of stuff. But I didn't really get into that like that well on the site because I really needed people to understand this identification and like what really happened with this big part of my case. But and that'd be too long of an interview for us to keep going, and it'd get long-winded. So I was like trying to, I don't want people to, lose their attention span too fast, but I really need people to understand what's going on. But I'm willing to like pull back up, and we could do another one, and I could like break down all of that stuff too.
I was aware that there was a police shooting. There's just so much I'm gonna need you to break down. We're definitely gonna have to come back for a part 2 or something.
Definitely, because that's a whole nother issue. Because that whole police shooting where they act like I jumped out the trunk of the car shooting at them, that wasn't even a lie. I got paperwork on that to prove that as well from the police reports, from the police officer medical records, that one of them never even got shot, even though he said he did. They convicted me of shooting him. He didn't have no bullet hole through his shirt, through the vest. There was like none of that. And I got a bunch of paperwork that I'm gonna be putting up so we could get into all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the next time you call in, we're going to get into all these other parts. But I'm really excited. I'm really happy you were able to, like, tell your half and your story on this misidentification process because, wow, it's ridiculous. All your rights were violated, everything that went on. I hope people really tune into this interview and into the website because they really correlate on everything that's going on right now.
And I want to thank you so much for allowing me to use your platform to speak on this because it's very important. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of people that know me, they think they know the case already because of what the media put out. But if you notice, the media never put any of this stuff out. And this is a part of the record already with my case, but they never spoke on any of that. And I think this is very important that people hear this so they understand that I really was done wrong here. And I really appreciate you.
Of course, no problem. It was a pleasure talking to you. So, like I said, can't wait to do this again. And I hope you have a good one.